Yo, how are y'all today? This is the Fierce Truth Seeker. I apologize for the delay. A lot of technical issues happening. So we're just now getting started. My young men shall never work. Men who work cannot dream, and wisdom comes to us in dreams. You ask me to plow the ground. Shall I take a knife and tear my mother's breast? Then when I die, she will not take me into her bosom to rest. You ask me to dig for stone. Shall I dig under her skin for bones? Then when I die, I cannot enter her body to be born again. You ask me to cut grass and make hay and sell it and be rich like white men. But how dare I cut off my mother's hair? Those are the words of Smohala. Smohala was a holy man and prophet. And Smohala was indigenous, and he's known for what they call the dreamer religion. Okay. And oh, by the way, well, in case y'all are wondering what the smoke is, this is sage and cedar. Okay. And these are used in the same manner, similar manner as you would use like frankincense and myrrh, for cleansing the space of negative energy, things of that nature. Okay. Consecrating the space. And I'm sending virtual sage and cedar to you all. Okay. So before I get into Smohala, well, yeah, let me finish. So Smohala was a holy man, and Smohala believed that following the white man's ways would lead to destruction of the Indians. Okay. And he believed that dreaming was essential. Okay. And I believe that as well. Okay. So before we get more into Smahala, I would like to greet you all on this Sun Day. Okay. Because it's interesting that they call it Sun Day. Okay. So, and the reason why they call it Sun Day is because the days of the week has astronomical significance. Okay. And it goes back into the times of the old quote unquote pagan religions and things of that nature. By the way, we say pagan, it just means the people who follow the earth-based sciences. Okay, so there is nothing wrong with that. Okay, and we've been indoctrinated through organized religion to demonize the our natural ways of living in harmony with the earth, in harmony with nature. Okay, so when you talk about Sun Day, you're talking about the sun. Okay, that's why the Christ, Jesus the Christ, by the way, Christ was not his name. Okay, that was his title. That's why they say in the scriptures, Jesus the Christ. Okay, because this was a title. And you only know this when you overstand and understand the fact that a great amount of Jesus's life was omitted from the Bible. Okay, so between the years of 12 and 33, there's a big gap. However, they don't tell you that he had to travel to different lands to obtain levels of knowledge, wisdom, and go through different initiations in order to obtain that title of the Christ. Okay? And that's why when you read in the book of Malachi, chapter 4, verse 2, it talks about the sun, the sun of righteousness. Okay? The sun of righteousness. It doesn't say son, and that's right there in your Bible, in the scriptures. Okay? And that's why they have the book here. This is a glare. Jesus Christ, the sun of God, ancient cosmology and early Christian symbolism. And this book is by David Fideler. Okay, and it's really not a layperson's book. Okay, this is a lot of high science in here. Okay, and sacred geometry and things of that nature. So you're going to be looking at sacred geometry. You're going to be looking at gematria, what they call gematria. Okay, and number codes and things of that nature, because it's really high science. Okay, in these scriptures, see, when you're given religion, when you just go to church and you sing hymns and things of that nature, you're only getting things having to do with morality. Okay, however, there's another level that you don't get. Okay, that what they call the esoteric wisdom. Okay, these are reserved for those who seek further enlightenment, through various secret societies and things of that nature, and don't get spooked out about that. I mean, secret societies go all the way back. You follow the American Indian systems, you're going to find a lot of that. Okay. And it goes all the way back to Atlantis, back to Lemuria, ancient Egypt. Okay. So, anyway, Sun Day. Okay. By the way, if there's anyone who is generous enough to want to leave a donation, I'm going to leave a link here. Okay. And it's in the chat. Anyway, then you have Monday. Monday is Moon Day. Okay? Moon Day. And I'm not telling you anything that this is common knowledge, really. All you have to do is research it. Okay? And then you have Tuesday. Okay? Now, Tuesday, that is from the god of war, Tiw, Tiw. Okay? It was one of the gods of war. However, Tuesday and the god of war is Mars. And this becomes more clear when you study it in the Latin, okay, in those other Romance languages, okay, Spanish, French, Italian, okay. So then you have in the Latin is Dies Martis, okay. In the French, it's Mardi, like Mardi Gras, Mardi, okay. Um, in Spanish, it's Martes, okay, and that's from Mars Day, okay. Then you have Wednesday or Woden's Day, which is the god of war. I mean, the um the I'm sorry, not the god of war. The that is Mercury's day. Okay, Mercury's day. Okay, Mercury was the messenger. Okay, and it's Woden's day. That's the old pagan. But now, when you look at it in the Latin, then you have Dies Mercury. Okay, which I mean it's right there, Mercury. Okay. Um, then in the French, mercredi. In the Spanish, miércoles. Okay. So this cannot be coincidence because it's right there. I mean, it's obvious in the language. Okay. It's obvious in the languages. Okay. Then you have Thursday, which is Thor's Day. Okay. Thor, which is the Norse god of thunder, lightning, storms, etc. Okay. Then you have in the Latin is Dies Jovis. Okay. And that is Jupiter's day. Okay. Or Jove's day. That's why it's Dies Jovis in Latin. Okay. Judy in French. Jueves in Spanish. Okay, so it's no coincidence there. It's obvious. Friday, that's Frigga's day. Okay, Frigga. Okay, which is the Norse god of, should I say, goddess of home, marriage, and fertility, which is also Venus. Friday is Venus's day. Okay, and that's why it's Dies Veneris in Latin. I know my Latin is not 100% perfect, so you have to excuse the pronunciation. Okay, it's viernes in Spanish. Okay, vendredi in French. Okay, and then you have Saturday. Okay, and Saturday is Saturn's day. That's why they call it Saturday. Saturn's day. Okay, so I just wanted to give you some perspective on these days. Okay, so today is Sun Day, and the sun had a very powerful significance among the ancient ones here in the Americas. Okay, and our indigenous ancestors venerated the sun, didn't worship the sun. There's a difference between worshiping and acknowledging. Okay, and you even see that title of children of the sun here in the Americas. Okay, just like in ancient Kemet or Egypt. Okay, and you can see among the mound builders, you can see them holding up their hands like this, venerating the sun. Okay, and I'm going to show you, as a matter of fact, an image here. Here you can see an image of the Natchez Indians who were mound builders, and they are holding up their hands toward and looking towards the sun. Okay, similar to how here they show in Kemet they're doing the same thing. It says here, add this to the fact that the solar ritual of the Natchez was closely paralleled by the Egyptian. As we shall see, note first how the Timucua community of Florida used to worship the sun. And again, that worship is loose, a loose term. They didn't worship, they revered. The early contact drawing, which I just showed you, shows their chief, the priest, and the others raise both arms toward the solar image in virtually the same manner as the high priest of Amun toward Ra, toward Re Harakate or Re Harakti in his solar boat, which you have right here. Okay, I know that image is poor, and it's even that way in the book. You can barely make it out, but you can go to the actual. You can look at the temple walls and see that. Okay, so the sun was known for its life-giving properties to bring about flourishing crops, also to give us what we need, the vitamin D and things of that nature. Okay. And now back to Smohala. Okay. And because today we're talking about dreams, the dream realm, dreaming, and the importance of sleeping, dreaming. Okay. So Smohala, right? So I'm going to read you something here about Smohala. It says, like all, oh wait, hold on, give me 1 second. So Smohala, the dreamer religion, was based on the belief that if Native Americans shunned white culture and lived as their ancestors had lived, the Creator would reward them by bringing dead Indians back to life and ridding Indians of white people. His teachings spread rapidly among Columbia Plateau peoples in the late 19th century. To tribes which had been decimated by disease, pushed out of their traditional homelands, and otherwise dispirited by white encroachment, Smohala offered hope for a restoration of freedom and dignity. To many whites, however, he represented a dangerous threat, not only to white expansion, but to efforts to civilize the Indians. Widely feared and vilified in his own time, a century later, he was installed in Washington's Centennial Hall of Honor as one of the 100 most influential people in state history. Like all successful shamans, Smohala could predict the arrival of the arrival of salmon runs, direct hunters to the best herds, and tell root gatherers where to find the most fertile lands. But he also had a reputation for being able to foretell eclipses and earthquakes, including one that shook the Columbia Plateau in 1872. Several skeptical whites claimed that his seeming prescience was based on an almanac, which he had obtained from a railroad survey team at some point and learned to use. Smohala insisted, of course, they always have to try to discredit us. You know, they always try to come with something, and that, they're just hating right there anyway, because they didn't like him. Anyway, Smohala insisted that all his information came from the spirit world. Earthquakes, he said, were a sign that spirits were angry, and the only way to appease them was to obey the laws of the ancestors. Indians should not work as white people did, but live instead on the fish, game, and plants that nature provided. Men who work can't dream, he said, and wisdom comes to us in dreams. He conceded that Indians had to work hard during the fishing and hunting seasons to get and preserve food for the winter. But that was natural work, lasting only a few weeks, while the work of the white man hardens the soul and body. Let's just take a look at that for a minute. That's powerful. I mean, I think y'all need to go back and look at this video again and just listen to those words. Okay? Go back and listen to those words, because what he's saying there is very profound. Okay? And he's saying that the work that we do hardens the soul, okay, and body. And we find in our society, here in America, we work more than anybody. You know, I've traveled, you know, all the way across the globe. Okay, I've lived across the globe. Okay, and people don't work like how we work here. It's a different type. I mean, here they work you to death. Okay, they work you to death here. Okay, and there is a reason for that. Okay, there's a reason for that. They want to keep you in survival mode. Okay, they keep you in survival mode to hinder your spiritual development, because you got to remember, we come from a people who did things that they would call miracles. Okay, if you just study up on different indigenous peoples and some of their spiritual systems, okay, and practice different spiritual systems, okay, you're gonna see that people were able to do things that defy the laws of physics, defy these laws that are established, that they say are not humanly possible. Okay, phenomenal things. Okay, like for instance, Geronimo. Okay, the white man's bullets couldn't harm him. Okay, Geronimo was shot with guns several times. Okay, he'd be running at him. They shoot, pow, 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 pow. You get back up and come back charging at him. Pow, 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 pow. Get back up. Come running at him. Chopping heads. Killing. Okay, this is real talk. Okay, read up on Geronimo. Okay, and he's one out of many. All right, that's another topic for another time. Okay, because even Don't even talk about Africa, okay? Because they got some stuff going on there. They've got some people in Africa that you've never even heard of before. And we'll get into that. That's, like I say, that's another topic for another time. Okay, but you got people over there that make Jesus Christ of Nazareth look like he was just somebody common that couldn't even do miracles. This is fact. Okay, and these people's descendants are still living. I know them personally. Okay. Okay. So they want to hinder and stifle our spiritual development. Okay, because we come from ancestors who could control the weather. Okay, do a rain dance, and make it rain. Okay, make the rain come down. Do some chants, do some dancing, make the rain come down. Okay, I know of people who've told me stories of their particular relatives. I'm talking about right here in America. Okay, who the relatives could make hurricanes jump over their house, hurricanes, tornadoes jump over their house, and go where the people are doing evil stuff and wreck the place up. This is real talk. Okay. Yeah. This is real talk. Again, another subject for another time. Okay, again, these are spiritual sun days with Fierce Truth Seeker bringing you some of this Aboriginal spirituality, metaphysics, cosmology, cosmogony, and all of that good stuff. Okay. But yeah, so they have to stop you from sleeping, getting adequate sleep. Don't you know they say that sleep deprivation and dehydration are two of the main killers, leading to a great majority of illnesses because you compromise your immune system when you don't get those things. Okay? You have to get sleep. You need at least 8 hours of sleep. At least 8 hours of sleep. I know there, will be some debate about that, but it is what it is. Try getting 8 hours of sleep, at least, or more, and see how you feel. Okay. Now, when it comes to sleeping, what you want to do, see, and this gets into your third eye, what they call third eye awakening. Okay. And for those of you who are not familiar with what the third eye is, okay, your body has what they call chakras. Okay. And these chakras go along they're like spiritual meridians, and they're like gateways that are like a bridge between your physical existence and your spiritual existence. Okay? And once those are awakened, then you can have more of a spiritual connection. You open up your clairvoyance, your intuition, your ability to do things that are spiritual in nature. Okay? And this is not, okay, I know some people who are religiously inclined may have a problem with some of this stuff. However, this stuff is in your holy books. Okay? You have, if you look in your, well, I don't care what holy book is, you're going to have certain numbers that are going to be consistent throughout all religions. Okay? Like, you have 7 major chakras in the body. But the reality is there are many chakras. Okay? It's not just the 7. Okay? Then you have the 12 chakras. Okay? And you're going to see these numbers in the scriptures. Okay? You're going to see the number 7. You're going to see the number 12. Okay? How many disciples did Jesus have? 12. How many tribes of Israel? 12. Okay? And good book for you to get is this book here. This book is by a man by the name of Charles Fillmore. It's called The 12 Powers of Man. Okay? If you want to see the chakras, he has a picture in here. And these are the chakras. And these chakras, these are the chakras or mind powers. Okay, in the body. Okay. And you see here where it says, put it so you can see it. So where it says here, I am Christ. Okay. So when Jesus became the Christ, that is when he attained that Christ consciousness. Okay? Christ consciousness. Okay? That crown, what they call the crown chakra. Okay? So it's Jesus the Christ, not Jesus Christ. That wasn't his last name. Okay? Give me 1 second. I have the AC on. It's kind of a little warm today. Give me 1 second. Let me turn that off. Pardon me. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going a few steps away. Okay. Pardon me. I just had to do that. It's getting a little cool. So, and let me read a little something here to give you a little perspective. So it says here in the 12 powers of man, the subconscious realm in man has 12 great centers of action. with 12 presiding egos or identities. Jesus had attained a certain soul development. He called this he called his 12 apostles to him. This means that when a man is developing out of mere personal consciousness into spiritual consciousness, he begins to train deeper and larger powers. He sends his thought down into the inner centers of his organism, and through his word quickens them to life. Wherefore, where before his powers would have worked in the personal, now they begin to expand and work in the universal. This is the first and the second coming of Christ spoken of in the scripture. The first coming is the receiving of truth into the conscious mind, and the second coming is the awakening and the regeneration of the subconscious mind through the superconsciousness or Christ mind. Man expands and grows under divine evolution as an industrial plant grows. As the business expands, it is found that system is necessary. Instead of one's Instead of one man's being able to do the work with the assistance of a few helpers, he requires many helpers. Instead of a few helpers, he needs hundreds. And in order to promote efficiency, he must hold on. We're getting noise in the back from outside. Let me Yeah, so pardon. Again, like I said earlier when we did the other live, I live in the boogie down Bronx and the noise is just off the chain. So I just had to mute my mic for a second while that car passed by playing the loud music because it got louder and louder. So, I just had to mute. Sorry about that. So it says here, and in order to promote efficiency, he must have heads for the various departments of the work. Scripture symbology calls the heads of departments in man's consciousness the 12 apostles. Each of these 12 department heads has control of a certain function in soul or body. Each of these heads works through an aggregation of cells that physiology calls a ganglionic center. Jesus, the I am or central entity, has his throne in the top head, where phrenology locates spiritually. This is the mountain where he so often went to pray. The following outline gives a list of the 12, the faculties that they represent, and the nerve centers at which they preside. Okay, so you have faith, which is Peter, and that's the center of the brain. Then you have strength. Okay, let me show you, give you a little. Okay, so he have faith, Peter, that's here. Can you see that? Okay, I know some people have fallen off in terms of viewers, but I don't care. This is Spiritual Sundays. So for those who are not spiritual. I said spiritual, not religious. So those who are not spiritual, I don't want you here. You see what I'm saying? And, a lot of people, they want to see a lot of controversy. They want to see people arguing and bickering all the time. Okay? They want to see abos and Pan-Africans. They want to see abos and Mongoloids going at each other. They want to see abos and Africans going at each other, and our people like that. They like to see a fight. But when it comes to something to edify the spirit, you don't want to hear that. Okay? And I say it's time to raise the vibration of these conversations, because again, if you don't have a foundation in terms of spirituality, okay, or culture, you don't even have a leg to stand on. And you're talking about you want to organize yourself to be recognized and this, that, and the other. Well, guess what? Those nations that a lot of you guys are hating on, guess what? They have culture. Okay? If somebody asks them, what is your language, or what is your cosmology and cosmogony, they can tell you that. Okay? But you can't do it. Okay? I can do it. Okay? I can do it. You guys can't. So, I'm trying to raise the vibration of these conversations, because a lot of this stuff is becoming toxic. Okay? And you got people who, are talking about going to blows with each other, and, arguing and bickering, and, people hate this one and hate that one. People hate Africans and blah, blah, blah. Not to say that some of them don't hate us too. Let's not let them off the hook. Okay. But I'm just saying in general, hate is a negative vibe. Okay. And you can't raise yourself up spiritually if you harbor hate. Okay. Because your chakras are going to be closed. Okay. That particular center is going to be closed. Okay. So, anyway, I'll continue on. So, that's Peter. Strength. Andrew. That's the loins. Okay. And here you have strength. Okay. Then you have discrimination or judgment. That's James, the disciple, the son of Zebedee, and that's the pit of the stomach. Okay? That's the pit of the stomach. Give me 1 second. Okay. Then you have power. Then you have love. which is John, and that's the back of the heart. Okay. Then you have power. That's Philip. That's the root of the tongue. Okay. Then you have imagination. That's Bartholomew. That's between the eyes. Then you have understanding. That's Thomas. That's the front brain. Then you have will. That's Matthew. That's the center front brain. Then you have order. That's James, son of Alphaeus. That's the navel. Then you have zeal. That's Simeon, the Cananean. That's the back of the head, the medulla. And then you have renunciation or elimination. That's Thaddeus. That's the abdominal region. Then you have life, conserver. That's Judas, the generative function. Okay, that's down here. Okay, so these 12 disciples and the 12 tribes, these also correspond to astrology. Okay, that's why there's 12 of them. In another discussion, we'll get into the 12 tribes. Okay, that's why you have Judah, the lion, Leo. Okay, that's why you have, well, as a matter of fact, we're not even, we're running out of time. I'm seeing that I don't want to go over an hour. We're already at 53 minutes and I have a lot more. Actually, we're actually going to have to do a second part to this, but let me continue on. I want to get into the dreams. This is just to give y'all a background, in terms of, so that when I speak about the dreaming and things of that nature, I won't lose a lot of you. Okay. So anyway, they do everything in their power to calcify what they call the pineal gland or the third eye. Okay, because once that is calcified, then that hinders your spiritual abilities, okay, for things like clairvoyance and, other spiritual gifts of that nature that are centered around that particular chakra. Okay, and they do this to maintain control. Okay, on many levels. Why you think you always see chemtrails sprayed all over the country? And they keep you in survival mode. Okay, they also put fluoride in your toothpaste and in your water. Okay, and that helps to calcify the pineal gland. Okay, so when you brush your teeth, you don't want to use toothpaste with fluoride. Okay, you want to look for the fluoride-free toothpastes. Okay, they have many on the market. Okay, in your health food stores, even online, you can find, just look for fluoride-free toothpaste. Okay, I've got several of them. As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. Let me get one. Give me 1 second. I'm just going nowhere, just a few steps. All right. Go. I'm here. Let me just get this out. Get this box here. Okay. This is one here. If you can see that. And I'll flip it. I know it's, let me put it this way. Sorry about that. Oh yeah, I should have done that in the first place because that was sideways. But yeah, that one is sideways. This one is the other way. This, the back of the box. See, it says fluoride free. So there's different, I mean, this is just one out of many. I have quite a few different kinds. Okay. And, you know, you also want to, you definitely don't want to drink tap water. Okay. Don't want to drink tap water. There was even years ago, and this is on the news, you had someone who had, they ran the tap and they took a lighter, and when they lit the lighter by the water like caught on fire, just like how gasoline, like how when you put fire on gasoline, that's what happened with the water. And I think this was, if I remember correctly, this was in New Jersey, I think it was. Okay. So you definitely don't want to be drinking this tap water. Get yourself some type of water filter. You know, you don't want to mess with that. Okay. Now, so they want to calcify the pineal gland. Now, when you dream, see, when I dream, I actually travel when I'm sleeping. Okay, when I'm like literally in, like physically in different places. Now that may sound, you may not believe me. You may think I'm making this up. I don't care. I really don't care. I'm telling you what happens. Okay, I'm like physically in another place. Okay, like how here we have 3 dimensions, everything is dense. You know, I'm like there, like awake in my sleep. And that's what you want to try. You want to try to learn how to become conscious when you're sleeping. Okay. And there are certain methods and techniques that you can use to be able to do that over time. Okay. But one of the things you want to start doing is, like I said, start getting more sleep. And I'm guilty too of not getting enough sleep. So I'm able to do that with insufficient sleep. So imagine if I was really getting as much sleep as I really needed. That's what I'm saying. They keep you in survival mode so that you can't do these things. Okay. Edgar Casey, he was called what? The sleeping prophet. Go look up Edgar Casey. Okay. And Edgar Casey, he was able to get all kinds of revelations through dreams. Okay. So you want to start to get serious about this dreaming. Like, particularly when I was younger, I used to be able to foresee things before they happened just in my dreams. Sometimes people would try to come to me with some nonsense, and I'd be looking at them like they're crazy because, I already saw it happening in the dream. So I'm like, bruh, you ain't fooling me with that. I already saw it happen, and I'd watch people play themselves, because I already saw it happen in the dream. So I already knew what was going on. You see what I'm saying? And that's the power of the Dreamtime. The Australian Aborigines, okay? The Australian Aborigines talked about Dreamtime, okay? When you get a chance, you want to look up the Australian Aborigines and the Dreamtime, okay? Now, the Australian Aborigines, they believed that this world, that they believe that the dream world was the real world, and this right here was the illusion or the fake world. Okay, and the Australian Aborigines, they have a serious spiritual system. Okay, and we have a genetic connection to them. Okay, because they've already found evidence that this continent was peopled by peoples from over in the Pacific. Okay, um, and people from Australia. Okay, and before I ever, I'm going to tell you, before I ever read that in a book, I said to myself, just by looking at old photos of the California Indians, and I'm using that term Indian loosely, just for the sake of clarity. Oh, by the way, let me drop this again. Give me 1 second. I will hold that thought. I just want to drop this again because there are people who just came in. I'm going to drop this again. Give me 1 second. For all those who may be generous enough to leave a donation, I'm going to leave a link here. Okay. I'm not big on money. I'm not even doing this for money. This is just, a little something to help out with research and, to allow me to be able to help other people too. I go to different people in the community are in who are hospitalized and stuff like that. Sometimes, me and my wife go there. We bring them food, you know, um, things of that nature. There's one particular elder, and I'm not going to name that elder's name, but that particular elder has been on this show, someone that everybody loved. And that particular elder has been in the hospital, in the hospital first, but now in a nursing home, and has been there for about 5 years now. Has had about 8 heart attacks and about 5 strokes, at least 5 strokes. Okay. And my wife and I go to see that particular elder regularly, you know, and we utilize our own resources to take that particular elder food and, even books, because that particular elder loves books, indigenous books and stuff like that, so, you know, and this channel, this channel has been on the air for a very long time. Excuse me. And I never monetize the channel because, for the most part, this is a labor of love. It's not about money. And I had even stopped doing a lot of shows and things of that nature just because it, was just not feasible. So, the donations are not used to floss or anything like that. As you can see, I'm not a flashy type of person. You see me in these same wares all the time, So, but anyway, back to where I left off at. So, I even said, long before I even read it in a book, I would look at certain pictures of the California Aboriginals, and I'd be like, man, they look a lot like Australian Aborigines. I said, I guarantee you. See, a lot of my information, believe it or not, a lot of my information just comes to me through intuition. And later on, I verify the information through books. Okay? Through books. Later. But a lot of information I got is just through intuition. And the ancestors, leading me to certain people, places, and books, and things of that nature. Okay? But lo and behold, years later, they talked about how people from the Pacific, people from Australia coming and populating the Americas. Okay, but they have a serious spiritual system, a very serious spiritual system. I mean, it's no joke. As a matter of fact, let me read something here regarding the Australian Aborigines. Give me 1 second. Matter of fact, I think I can share the screen with y'all. Let's see here. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going to share the screen. I think it's this one here. Here we go. Okay, now let me take this. Okay. Share screen. And then window. Share. Okay. Let's see here. All right, let me pull up this article here. Okay. So here it says Artlandish, Aboriginal Dreamtime. Hold on. Okay, so it says the Dreamtime is a commonly used term for describing important features of Aboriginal spiritual beliefs and existence. It is not generally well understood by non Indigenous people. Aboriginals believe that the Dreamtime was way back at the very beginning. The land and the people were created by the spirits. They made the rivers, streams, water holes, the land, hills, rocks, plants, and animals. It is believed that the spirits gave them their hunting tools and each tribe its land, their totems, and their dreaming. The Aboriginals believe that the entire world was made by their ancestors way back at the beginning, at the very beginning of time, the dream time. The ancestors made everything. Okay, I thought I was sharing the screen. Is it? Let me see. Wanted to share this with y'all. Let me see something. Did it look like it might have stopped sharing? Let me try this again. Share screen, window, share. Okay, there we go. The ancestors made particular sites to show the Aboriginal people which places were to be sacred. The Aboriginals performed ritual ceremonies and customary songs near the sacred sites to please the ancestral spirits and to keep themselves alive. Distinct tribes had different philosophies and beliefs about the ancestors who made the world. Some believed that the ancestors were animal spirits. Others in parts of Amhem land in the Northern Territory believed the ancestors were huge snakes. In other places, the spirit who created the world were believed to be the Wanajina. Dreamtime is the foundation of Aboriginal religion and culture. It dates back some 65,000 years. It is the story of events that have happened, how the universe came to be, how human beings were created, and how their creator intended for humans to function within the world as they knew it. Aboriginal people understood the dream time as a beginning that never ended. They held the belief that the dream time is a period on a continuum of past, present, and future. The Aborigines learned about their beginnings through their Dreamtime creation folklores that told of the momentous actions of the creators. The myths were the foundation of Aboriginal society and provided certainty about existence. The Australian Aborigines believed that the land they occupied was once not in existence like it is today. It was free from form or life, vacuous, empty. They unquestionably believed that this was the way things were things once were because the ancestors had said so, and they would never doubt their word. It was during what has become known as Dreamtime, the land, mountains, hills, rivers, plants, life forms, both animal and human, and sky above were formed by the actions of mysterious and supernatural spirits. During the dream time, the creators made men, women, and animals, declared the laws of the land and how people were to behave to one another, the customs of food supply and distribution, the rituals of initiation, the ceremonies of death, which are required to be performed so that the spirit of the dead travels peacefully to his or her spirit place, and the laws of marriage. Some dreamings told of the mythical creators disappearing. They believed that the creators disappeared from sight from the sight of mere mortals, but continued to live in secret places. Some lived in the tribe's territory in rocks, crevices, trees, and water holes. Others went up to the sky above as heavenly bodies. Others changed into or perhaps became natural forces such as wind, rain, thunder, and lightning. It is believed that many of the creators continue to live on the land or in the sky above, watching over them. These supernatural, enigmatic creators were often referred to as men and women who had the ability to change shape into animals and other creatures, such as the rainbow serpent. The rainbow serpent. Okay, keep that rainbow serpent in mind, because you find that serpent universally, okay, within various spiritual systems, okay. And for those who are familiar with the ayahuasca that is practiced among certain tribes in the Amazon, when they grow through that ayahuasca ritual, you sometimes hear them talking about seeing that serpent, okay? You hear them talking about that serpent, okay? And then you also get into Quetzalcoatl, the plumed serpent, okay? All right. And, several other traditions. Hold on one second. And so I didn't want to deviate too much, but I just wanted to make note of that. That's another subject for another time. But that serpent, you find that throughout, and also in India, also in Haitian voodoo. Okay, you find that in Haitian voodoo. Okay, Dambalawedo, you know, um, you know. But anyway, back to the article here. It says here the rainbow serpent. Oh, and remember also the movie, The Serpent and the Rainbow. Okay, go and watch that movie, Serpent and the Rainbow, about Haitian voodoo. Which, by the way, that's not all African. Okay, it's a mixture. It's African and Arawak Indian. Okay, because you have different rites in that religion. Okay, and you find a whole lot of Arawak influence there. Anyway, so it says here there are there are also stories of heroes and heroines and mother and father figures. The Dreamtime may be difficult for many of us to understand fully, but it is part of who the Aboriginal people are, the very essence and reason for being here. It is all encompassing and will forever be the center of their existence as a people. So I just wanted to share that piece of information with y'all. Let me get that off of the screen. Give me 1 second. And yeah, so the dreams. Okay, so I know I may be spooking out some people who are of a religious mindset. So, for those who are worried and concerned, we're going to look at some scripture, okay? And if you look at, let's get the scriptures out here. Give me 1 second. Let me turn to particular scripture here. Give me 1 second. We're going to look in the book of Psalms. Okay, and we're going to look at hold on, it's my eyes here. Give me 1 second. For those of y'all know my eyes. I refuse to wear glasses, so I'm going to have to pull up this scripture elsewhere. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Don't go anywhere because I'm going to get into some tools to help y'all with the dreaming. Give me 1 second. All right. 17. Okay, so before we go to that one, let's go to the book of Acts, where it says, in the last days, God said, I will pour out my spirit on all people. Your sons and daughters will prophesy. Your young men will see visions. Your old men will dream dreams. Okay? And that's Acts 2:17. Okay? And so there, this is consistent with, for those of you who may have issues with what I'm saying, you have some scriptural references there. Okay? Let me get you another one. Let me get another one for you. And this one, let's see here. Okay. This one is Psalms 78:14. Okay. And let's see here. It says, in the daytime also he led them with a cloud, and all the night with the light of fire. Okay. And then it also says in 16:17, I will praise the Lord who counsels me even at night. My heart instructs me. Okay. So you get your instructions when you're sleeping, when you're dreaming. Okay. And this is why they always say you have to have sleep. Okay. If you ever noticed, if you ever try this one, try this on your own. Try not sleeping for 48 hours. Try to go 48 hours without sleeping. You're going to start to have hallucinations. Just try it. Don't take my word for it. Okay. And it's very important for you to sleep. It's very important for you to dream so that you can get your instructions. It's like that's when you get your dictate, for your next day. Okay. And your soul has to travel. Okay. Your soul has to travel. All right. So now what I'm going to do is talk about the pineal gland. Okay. And there's a good book that I read back in the days, and it's called The Pineal Gland, Awakening the Third Eye Chakra and Developing Psychic Abilities such as clairvoyance and other types of intuition or third eye opening. Okay. And this is by Marie Silva. Marie Silva. Okay. And what it is that you want, now I'm giving you some tools. Okay. I'm giving you some tools here. What you want to start doing is, okay, well, first, let me give you some background. So, there is a correlation between melatonin and the pineal gland, okay, as well as the pituitary gland, okay, because the pineal gland and the pituitary gland works together. The pineal gland stimulates the pituitary gland, or vice versa. I can't remember, but they work together. Um, one is masculine, one is feminine. Okay, so you want to start, like people tell you, take melatonin and stuff like that, but your body also produces natural melatonin. Okay, in the nighttime or in the dark times of the day, and through the night, your melatonin starts to synthesize. Okay. And during the day is when your body starts secreting the serotonin. Okay. So what you want to do is start going to sleep no later than 10 o'clock. Because from 10 o'clock p.m. to 12 a.m., that's where you get the maximum effect. Okay. During those times, that's when, it's at its peak. Okay. When you get the peak benefits. Okay. Then from 12 to 2 o'clock, that, it starts to wane a little bit. Then from 2 to 4, is another phase. But, you want to definitely be in bed. If you can't do from 10 to 12, then definitely, at least, go to sleep by 12 o'clock. But you want that, if you want that maximum benefit, be asleep by 10 o'clock, or at least go to bed by 10 o'clock. And some people have a hard time sleeping. Okay. And a lot of times, the reason why people have a hard time sleeping, there's different, various reasons, but I know for sure that one of the reasons is when you have inconsistent sleeping patterns, you tend to have a harder time sleeping. Of course, there's things like distractions, external distractions and things of that nature. But you want to try to start sleeping at the same time every day. Okay? Start sleeping the same time every day. And then because your body, that's how your body operates. Your body operates on a biological clock where, if you go to bed a certain time regularly, or you go to sleep a certain time regularly, your body's going to automatically start getting sleepy at that time. Okay. And when you start, let's say if you usually go to bed at let's say 12 o'clock or whatever, but then you start going to bed at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, that's going to throw your cycle off. Okay. And it's going to be harder for you to go to sleep. But if you develop a regular sleeping regimen, then it's going to be easier for you. And also, one thing that worked for me, it might not work for everybody. Everybody's different. Back in the days when I had sleeping problems, I started taking Valerian root. Okay, Valerian root tea. Or you could get the powder, you could do that too, the powdered root. But that Valerian root tea helped me a lot when I had insomnia. Make me sleep like a baby, just knocks you out. Okay. But that's one, that's one. There's others too. Some people say chamomile, and never worked for me. But I say everybody's different. The Valerian worked the best for me. For some people, it may be chamomile. I heard also soursop. I'm not sure. I never tried it for sleeping because when I had insomnia, what I was taking was the Valerian. Okay. And also, now, what also worked for me too is like the Unisom. And I'm not even one to really take like pills and stuff like that. I if I'm gonna use a supplement, I prefer the herb. But if you run into a problem where nothing else is working, now the Unisom is not going to put you to sleep, but when you do sleep, you'll get that REM sleep where, once you start sleeping, it's going to put you in a deep sleep, and, those external noises are not really going to affect you because you're going to be in a like really deep sleep. However, it's not going to work for everybody. Everybody's different. I know some people that it doesn't work like that for everybody. You have to find that thing that works for you because each individual is different. Okay. So what you also want to start doing is you want to start sleeping with, well, before that, you also want to, before you go to sleep, unplug all of the appliances in your house. Okay. Now, of course, if you have a refrigerator, then you're not going to be able to unplug that because you're going to need to keep your food. But other than that, you want to you want to unplug, not just turn off, because when you turn a device off, the meter is still running, and it's still running, believe it or not. And you're actually getting billed. You're still getting billed because the meter's still running. Okay. But you want to unplug. And that's another thing too. Not too many people are talking about electronic diseases. Okay, because a lot of this radiation and emissions from these appliances and stuff like that also compromise your immune system. Okay, nobody's talking about that. Okay, the late Delbert Blair used to talk about that. Okay, and I had started doing that back in the days, and it definitely makes a difference. It makes a difference when you unplug all of the appliances, unplug the computer, unplug the stove, unplug the lamp, unplug, get your phone off the charger. Matter of fact, put the phones in a separate room from where you're sleeping, and if you can, don't even sleep. Well, yeah, you can keep it in a room where I know some people need to have the phone just in case emergency and stuff like that. So you keep it in another room, but where it still can be heard if emergency arises or whatever. Okay, but you definitely want to start unplugging those devices before you go to sleep. Also meditate. Meditate on a regular basis. Also, a more plant-based type of eating. Okay, I'm not saying you have to go, wholeheartedly vegan or vegetarian or whatever. I'm just saying if you eat meat, eat a little bit of meat. You don't need as much meat as they tell you need. You can survive with just all you really need is like 2 days of meat is fine. You don't need more than that. You know, but that's try to make the majority of what you eat plant based, and if you could do it raw, even better. Also, start sleeping in complete darkness. Okay, if you can cover up your windows and keep the lights out, that would be great. Okay, or get you like a blanket, a dark blanket to put over your windows. Okay, and also what I use too is this right here. This is eye covering. Okay. And this eye covering you can put over your eyes when you're sleeping. Okay. And it also helps to filter out light. Okay. And you do that, you're definitely going to see a difference. Okay. And again, we're all different. And what works for one person may not necessarily work for another. You have to find that thing that works for you. But I do know that if you can sleep in complete darkness, like where I live at, it's constant noise. So that makes it even more of a challenge. Okay. So eventually what you want to do, you want to, move to a neighborhood that is more rural. Okay. But right now I'm here in the BX. That's my reality right now. So it's very challenging, in terms of sleep. Anyway, also what you want to do, and again, I'm giving you techniques that you can use to maximize your sleep and also to be able to control your dreaming. Okay. So what I started doing, see, I don't even have to do a lot of the stuff anymore because I've already mastered it. But if you want to start becoming awake in your dreams, then, or conscious rather, in your dreams, then what you can do is start to make note of certain triggers that will let you know that you're sleeping when you're sleeping. Okay. Like for me, and it's going to vary for each person. Like for me, what I did was when I'm sleeping, I try to become conscious of things that seem too good to be true, or things that seem odd or ridiculous. Because, a lot of times when you're dreaming, there's a lot of crazy stuff that goes on that, this just doesn't happen in the real world. Okay. And those are triggers for me. Okay. Like what used to work for me back in the days was if I'd have a dream and in the dream, it's going to sound funny, but if in the dream I'm going to the bathroom and about to urinate, okay, then I'd say, well, wait a minute now. Because sometimes you have to, especially if you drink a lot of water sometimes when you're sleeping, you may be in such a deep sleep. You may have to catch yourself, before you urinate. You see what I'm saying? And I use that as a trigger. I'd be like, anytime I have a dream and I'm dreaming that I'm going to a bathroom or something like that, I'm like, wait a minute. Am I dreaming or is this real? Because my dreams are just that real. That it's no different than the waking state. Okay? Even like right now, like I have to check myself to make sure I'm not dreaming. Or if I go to the bathroom, like right now, I'll check myself. I'll do like this here you know, like, wait a minute, well, do my eyes like that, just say, hey, am I dreaming? Because what happens with me is sometimes I'll have levels of dreams. Sometimes I'll have a dream within a dream within a dream. Okay. And that's happened to me on many occasions where I'll have a dream and I'll wake up from one dream and think that I'm awake in the real world, only to find out I was sleeping in another dream. And then I wake up from that thinking that, okay, well, I'm awake now, only to find out that I was dreaming again. And then wake up from that one and only to find out I'm dreaming again. And then finally say, hey, wait a minute, I got to wake up. And then I finally wake up and I'm here. Okay. And this is real talk. I'm not making this stuff up, but when you dream, your soul travels, and sometimes you actually travel, That's why sometimes you have to be careful when you wake someone up when they dream. Okay? Because, you can actually harm a person when they're sleeping. Okay? Because their soul is somewhere else. Okay? And you shake them up too fast, too quick, person might have a heart attack. Okay? That's happened to me. Like they talk about astral travel and stuff like that. And, they talk about like astral traveling and say, be careful when someone's astral traveling or whatever, not to, touch them and things of that nature. Same thing like with dreams, you got to be careful, But now, for those of you who don't sleep well or who don't dream, some people don't dream. I know people who just don't dream. Okay, so they don't know what happens when they sleep. They couldn't even recall what they dreamt about or if they dreamt at all. Okay, so for those of you who are in that situation, you really have some work to do. Okay, so now let me see here. So I want to look at this book and then we'll close out because I went way over the time. Let's see how many, I'm going to do a time check. Oh man. Yeah. We went like about something like an hour and a half or something like that. So I'm going to get into this book and then we're going to close. But I'm going to share this. Wait, no, actually, I don't have this on here. I'll have to read this on the other screen. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. Pull this book. And again, this book is called The Pineal Gland, Awakening the Third Eye Chakra and Developing Psychic Abilities such as clairvoyance, blah, 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 blah. So now this book, I read the introduction here. Give me 1 second. So this is the introduction. And it says here, so you want to awaken the third eye. Wait, hold on. So you want to awaken your third eye. You've heard so much about the many benefits you can gain from having this chakra open, but you have no idea where to begin. Well, you have found the best book to begin your spiritual journey. You will find this book offers you practical tools you can begin to work with to experience yourself fully. You should have everything you need to discover your psychic strengths and how to work with them by the time you're done reading this easy to follow guide. Many books go into the matter of developing the third eye by giving you complicated exercises and rituals. They name things and concepts after Eastern mystical terms, which are difficult to understand without a background in those terms. This book has been written in such a way that whether you're a complete newbie to the world of spirituality or this isn't your first video, you will find it is it you will find it an easy and enlightening read all the same. Most people live their lives glued to their screens, whether it's the TV, phone, or computer. It's sad that when they don't spend that much time investigating the truth about who they are, why they're here, and the many dimensions of the soul that exists. You, dear, well, let me skip that part and go to where it says, what is the pineal gland? What is the pineal gland? Is chapter 1. As a vertebrate, you have a little endocrine gland in your brain called the pineal gland. This gland produces melatonin, which is responsible for your sleep cycle. Without this hormone, you wouldn't know when to go to bed and when to wake up. Thanks to this hormone, you have a regular circadian rhythm and seasonal cycle for your body to keep up with. The reason it's called a pineal gland is that it's shaped like a pine cone. You can find it at the epithalamus, close to the middle of your brain. It is between both hemispheres in the groove where each half of the thalamus connects to the other. It's reddish gray, but it's reddish gray, about 5 to 8 millimeters long, and is part of your epithalamus that sits behind your habenular commissure and the thalamic bodies. Development and function. In humans, this gland grows during the ages of 1 to 2. After that, it maintains its size for the most part. As you approach puberty, the weight of this gland increases a bit. It works to create melatonin, which works in your central nervous system to regulate your sleep-wake cycle. To stimulate melatonin production, staying in the dark can be incredibly helpful. Let me scroll up. Light keeps this substance in check, as there are nerve cells sensitive to light that signal the gland. Children have a lot of melatonin, and it is believed that this melatonin is what keeps sexual development at bay. Physical function. In the pineal gland are pinealocytes. These are cells that exist with the production of melatonin. You'll also find the glial cells, which are brain cells that allow neurons to send information to each other. You could not have a regular circadian rhythm or inner clock without this organ. It's what regulates your body's inner machinations, including the signals you get that tell you it's time to go to bed or wake up, or allow you to feel alert or tired. It does a fine job of keeping these times of day consistent. That is, unless you mess it up by refusing to listen. When there are changes in the way of your pineal gland functions, it can affect your bone metabolism. The older you get, the less your pineal gland functions unless you do what you can to keep it active and healthy. This is the reason that postmenopausal women are particularly vulnerable to bone conditions like osteoporosis. Supplementing with melatonin meds can help with the increase of your bone mass. There is a strong connection between sleep and mental health. Don't get enough sleep, and you can either bring a mental health condition on yourself or aggravate whatever you already have. There are mental disorders that make it hard to sleep, further compounding the problem. These may be connected to how much sunlight you're exposed to. For instance, seasonal affective disorder, appropriately named SAD, is another form of depression that messes with your mood and happens when you don't have as much natural light as you should. This could be because the pineal gland is sensitive to light conditions, which affects how much melatonin is secreted. Your pituitary gland is a protrusion from the hypothalamus. It is connected to many hormonal, thyroid, and growth functions. The pineal gland affects the way the pituitary gland acts. For instance, with the secretion of melatonin by the former, the latter may be blocked from creating any hormones that will allow the testes and ovaries to develop to do their part in regulating functions like the female menstrual cycle. When you use drugs, whether prescription or recreational, they also affect the pineal gland and subsequently the process of producing melatonin. This is why it would be wise not to indulge in psychostimulants because the more you use them, the more your body and brain become accustomed to this new norm. And the more drugs you need to keep yourself feeling 100%. This is the reason for coming off any stimulants, including coffee, that can affect you so terribly. As your brain sends you uncomfortable signals, you need to restore balance. Only after a long enough period of abstinence will it begin to adjust to the new drug free norm. And this is an uncomfortable period indeed. The more people age, the less melatonin the pineal gland secretes. It has been postulated that the reduction of melatonin in the body could be one of those factors that cause the aging process. It is also typical for older people to have problems going to sleep or staying asleep because of a reduction in the amount of the sleep hormone produced. Okay? So, I just wanted to I didn't mean was to go this long with the sermon here, but we're going to have to break this up and next Sunday we'll continue and further the discussion. Okay? So, I'm sorry to keep y'all so long. And let me see here. Let me see who we have in the chat here. Give some acknowledgement. Okay, we got Native Voices Turtle Island, Firebird Grey Wolf. All right. She's in the house. And we also have Kiskaya Incan Ellie. He says Islam. Islam. And let's see. We also have the Sacred Grove. Hey, peace. Peace to the Sacred Grove. Yeah, Sacred Grove says peace and love, good family. Yeah. And the Sacred Grove says here, I'm actually going to have to look at his comment on the other screen because this, what I'm using for the live, is a small laptop. So it's actually, it's a laptop. This is actually, what do they call this? It's a laptop, or is it's a laptop? Okay. They have another name for this type of small laptop, I'm trying to think of, but technically it is a laptop. Anyway, yeah, Sacred Grove says, right, the friars prosecuted us because they saw it, or persecuted us because they saw it as witchcraft. Was just reading about that in Old Carolina. Yep. And let's see here. And he also leaves another comment saying, facts. Those miracles they say he did, they got from out old stories, and it was common. Healers and scientists. Yeah, that's another subject for another time. And, the person that they call Jesus the Christ, the stuff that he did really wasn't a big deal. I mean, and some people think that, that stuff is mythology, but there are actually people who have done that stuff, and even more so, even makes the stuff that Jesus did look like child's play, And this stuff is documented. I mean, this is like official documents, That's another discussion for another time. We'll discuss that on another Sunday. Okay. And let's see here. Who else we have here? Mark D. All right. What's up, Mark D? So, Mark D says, we need more American Indians to create YouTube channels or get in tune with those that already exists. Those aren't tribally affiliated. Those that aren't tribally affiliated feel they can act anyway because they respect nothing. Yeah, I feel you. I feel you. Oh, yeah, we have Timothy Williams Bay. Ashe says Ashe, Ashe, Ashe. Yeah, Ashe, Timothy Williams Bay. What's going on, family? And Awanasa, what's up, cuz? Says Oshio. Yeah. And she leaves another comment here. Says they bury the dead in trees. There is absolutely fascinating. Right. Yeah, there's all kind of customs, We'll talk about different customs and stuff on one of the next Sundays. And let's see. Yeah. And so, another comment here. And Awanasa says, astrology and astronomy are also in verses in the Bibliothèque. Yes, exactly. That is very true. Very true. It's all there. It's all there. And on the next Sunday, we're going to get more into that. Okay. But I really thank everyone who. Oh, there's some more comments too. Wait a minute. I'm missing a couple of other comments here. Give me 1 second. We have okay, Awanasa says that her spirit animal is a deer. Nice. 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 Yeah, finding out your power animal, you know, is key. You know, also doing, like vision quests and sweats and things of that nature. And the Sacred Grove says in the Aramaic, instead of Christ, it was Mori or Mara. Nice. Nice. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I think on that note, we're gonna close out now. I went way over the time, but I really thank everyone who joined us, and tune in next Sunday, and we'll have some more spiritual discussions, also health and wellness, you know. And until the next time, do da da go hunt e.